The mystery of our Lord's entry into the Father's glory came to be understood by the apostles and the church community not all of a sudden. It took some time to come to terms with it, and when they knew of it, they came to know that the departure of Jesus was not actually his total absence, but it was his presence in many other ways. And so, as he left and returned to the Father's glory, which actually happened on the day of his passing from this world, because we know in Luke chapter 24, verses 50 to 53, he said to the thief that I promise you, today you will be with me in paradise. The apostles came to understand this after he had risen. And Luke presents it in stages. And in Acts of the Apostles, it tells us that span of 40 days. 40 days is enough time of preparation to make something important take place in a person's life. So St. Luke is telling us that Jesus gave apostles enough time to understand the reality of his rising from the dead and return to the Father. And during those days when he appeared to them, he was coming to initiate them into the design of his presence in many other ways. Like he had 40 days before he began his public ministry. And this is what we do during the time of Lent, 40 days to Easter. So even after his rising from the dead, he gave enough time to the apostles and disciples to come to terms with his handing over to them this great responsibility. This ministry is given to them to allow humanity enter into Christ's organic presence in a big way. Formerly, the apostles followed the lead of the Master. And now that he's away, they were a bit disturbed and troubled on how to go about things. Moreover, they were a small team. So the Lord told them to remain in Jerusalem, keep together, and gather enough strength. And that was the time of consolidation. And as they prayed for the gift of the Holy Spirit, as we shall see next Sunday, they were empowered for mission onto which they went. But they had to gather and make Jerusalem the starting point of their mission. This empowerment enabled them to be confirmed to speak in the name of the Master. This gathering helped them to enter more deeply into the message Christ had given to them. And again, this gathering kept them together to know each other more and to get set for mission. And this gathering helped them to know that Jerusalem was the religious center and spiritual center from which this mission was to begin. And as they went out, as we shall see next Sunday, they go to restore humanity. And this is the mission Christ has given them in the gospel today. Go and preach to the whole world. Proclaim the good news to every creature. Every creature means human beings and the rest of other things. So when the apostles take the good news to human beings, they are touching their hearts. And once the hearts of people are touched and won to God, their life changes. And when the life of the people changes, they impact the rest of creation in a new way with good news. Therefore, a heart that has been touched by the good news refrains from misusing creation. If a heart is touched by creation, the good news, I cannot use the resources of the world to bring forth instruments of destruction, human destruction. I cannot use nature or vegetation to produce poison. I cannot use creation to bring about massive destruction. Instead, I use creation for purposes God has put it in place to preserve beauty, to preserve life in fellow human beings, to handle all creation with respect, and to handle all creation and share it with others, including other creatures as well. So this is the good news that the apostles bring forth to the whole world, and by this, they help to bring about a new humanity and a new creation. So the proclamation of the good news should bring forth a new humanity, a new people who have a new way of thinking, and promote the prosperity of the rest of the environment and other issues. So this is the world in which we are participating as sharers in the mission of Christ. After Christ has enriched us with his good news, he is expecting us to teach others to do the same. And when others see us doing good, we are making the extension of Christ a reality. We are promoting the design of Christ's organic presence in the world. People will no longer ask, where is Christ and who is Christ? When they see us act, they will really know, as we saw last Sunday, that we are children of God. We are children of God if we walk. The disciples were staring in the clouds until a gentleman came and told them, why are you staring in the clouds? We are wasting time. When Christ returns to the Father's glory, it is time for work. We have to get busy transforming creation. This is our task. And we transform creation as church today, 2,000 years plus. Church has done mission attending to practical issues of humanity through doctrinal proclamation and magisterial teaching and church social teaching. In all these ways, the church is addressing real human issues. So we are not folding our arms, waiting for the return of the Lord. And Luke says, happy those servants whom the master upon his return finds them busy doing the will of God. And the will of God for us, the church, is to change unjust and oppressive structures. It is to work for the progress of the poor. It is to put away all structures that suffocate humanity. It is to raise concern and provide solutions for wars, refugees, human trafficking, drug addiction, and all forms that degrade human dignity. It is our task to address all injustices of segregation, discrimination, and everything like that. It is our task to avoid all forms of violation of human rights. It is our task to attend and find solutions for human crises that comes in forms of disease, hunger, shelter needs, and other catastrophes. It is our task as Christians who are proclaimers of the good news to address issues of materialism, relativism, modernism, secularism, and individualism. So we are not here to lay and fold our hands and wait for the return of the Lord. We have to be busy working for the salvation of humanity. And this is how we bring forth a new world and new humanity, when we make the extension of Christ's presence realized in an organic way, flowing from us into others and into creation. Therefore, today, as the Lord sent the apostles, Christ is sending us today as church to go and wash each other's feet. And this means practical charity. Christ is asking us to minister to the sick and the suffering. Christ is asking us to reach out to prisoners. Christ is expecting of us to correct one another in a charitable way. Jesus wants us to listen to the cries of the poor and the defenseless. Christ wants us to welcome and pay attention to the homeless. Christ is encouraging us to teach one another perseverance and endurance in all challenges as we are facing the challenge of COVID. And Christ is expecting of us to forgive unconditionally and limitlessly. This is how we get involved in the reality of Christ's organic presence in the world, and this is how we extend his presence among all people. Let's do this mission as Christ has entrusted it to us, faithfully, joyfully, with love and commitment, and we shall renew the face of the earth. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.